Johnson and the Chicago Bears.
Victory hat, because guess what? The Bears have won 4 straight. They defeat the Saints 26-14. Guys, this is Bears' first win over the Saints since December 11th, 2008. Should I ask what we were all doing in 08 around that time?
Well, I can tell you what I was doing back then. I was a lot older than you kids here on set with me. And Jim, that includes you, big boy, because you're younger than I am, too. Let's go back to 2008. You're going to appreciate this, Pat. Cubs and White Sox both went to the playoffs.
Yes, they did.
Went to one of the great baseball games of my time, the blackout out at U.S. Cellular that season. Barack Obama became president, and we went through the worst financial crisis of my lifetime. Okay, but guess what? It's so good for the Bears to win a game that they looked bad in, except for the defense creating turnovers and the running game, which ran for 222, looked just terrific.
No, 100%. 2008, I was watching, Lou, and I was listening. I was graduating 8th grade, Lou, so I'm sorry. I am a little bit younger than you, but it's okay. I also was locked in on the blackout game.
Pat and I were both in the 8th grade. I remember the recession. That was the one thing I definitely remember from that time frame. Jim, what were you doing? December 11th, 2008?
I just started working for SiriusXM NFL Radio, and believe it or not, I was just starting to call the Bears games. So, that's what got the party started for me. I think it was the following year, Lewis, when you and I hooked up at Fox is when we started that. So, hey, man, I'm glad they won 4 in a row. It's a nice little streak they're on right now.
Look at this. And before we get into all this, I want to remind everyone that's watching us right now, especially on YouTube, be sure to leave a comment, #AfterTheWhistle. We'll be reading your comments later on in the show. But let's talk about this because, the defense, Dennis Allen facing his former team. Of course, he was the head coach there. But it was big play after big play today from this defense. Multiple interceptions, Montez Sweat, the strip sack. Yeah. Jim, I want to start with you. What did you see from this Bears defense today, man?
I'm really impressed with Dennis Allen. He's given a lot of looks. Obviously, Montez Sweat got the party started with the fumble recovery there, the strip fumble. And then, of course, the other turnovers that are generated. But it's all by the defensive looks. I think since Kyler Gordon has returned, we've seen him blitz consecutively. You look at how he's using Jaquan Brisker up at the line of scrimmage. He's given some devastating hits up there on the quarterbacks. And I just think all the variations of looks. He's got his athletes out there now. And I think TJ Edwards has helped coming back too as well. So they're full strength right now, and I think it's showing. They're really starting to gel. They're coming together. They're playing as a unit. Really, the only drop-off was right before the half there where they gave up the big play, and then coming out in the second half where they had a couple of letdowns that allowed the Saints to get on the board.
Jim, 5-play, 91-yard drive at the end of the half. I think they nailed it in 45 seconds. And I'm thinking, boy, did the Bears make the wrong call by winning the coin toss, and instead of letting the Saints take the opening kick, they decide they want to take the opening kick because they want to take advantage of that Saints defense. By the way, going into this game, the last 4 opponents had scored on their first 2 drives, so the Bears thought maybe they could get away with that. They don't score. Again, New Orleans closes the first half, Jim, and you're thinking, oh boy, what's going to happen to open up the second half? Are they going to get in trouble?
I think it tells you what Dennis Allen is as a defensive coordinator. If you look at that play, that was one-on-one. That was Tyreek Stevenson. He was late coming out of his break because technically you'd think, hey, why not play prevent, right? What's the worst thing can happen? Don't give up the big play, right? And they give up the big play. It tells you a lot about Dennis Allen as a defensive coordinator. He is going to stay aggressive, all right? They probably should have been in his own defense. He did not do that. He liked the way the defense was playing. He's trusting his players that they got to make a play. Tyreek Stevenson got beat on that particular play. But I think it's very telling about Dennis Allen. Hey, guys, I'm going to continue to call the game the same way. We're going after Spencer Rattler, and we're going to stay aggressive. And he did it all the way up to the end of the first half. So very telling on Dennis Allen.
Which is interesting, Pat, because Dennis Allen, up to this game, guys, the Bears were in the bottom quarter of the NFL and actually going after the quarterback and blitzing. But ever since they got Kyler Gordon back, I've seen that they've been more aggressive, especially with their use of Gordon and Brisker attacking the quarterback.
No, 100%. Listen, I'll say the biggest difference from week one, or from last week to this week, Spencer Rattler runs a 4.95. it's a little bit easier to catch that guy when he tries to get away from you. You know what I mean? Montez Sweat, I thought he looked phenomenal. I thought he was really aggressive. And I know it doesn't always end in sacks, and that's how we measure what your defensive end's worth is. But I thought in the run game, you saw a phenomenal game out of Montez Sweat. I thought Dominique Robinson got himself involved in a great way, and just how they were keeping Spencer Rattler on his back foot. You finally started to get some of those pressures on the quarterback. And I mean, that last interception of Kevin Byard was all a result of being in the face of the quarterback. He throws the football way too high. Kevin Byard just comes in and gets an easy catch to finish it off. The pressure and the sack numbers may not be what we want them to be on the season just yet. You creeped up in a great way in today's game, but I think the biggest thing for this Bears team is the fact that for back-to-back weeks, the pressure numbers have been in the face of the quarterback.
Fourth straight game now where the Bears force a turnover in the fourth quarter. Fourth straight game as well where they've got 3 or more takeaways there. Jim, I want to ask you this. Montez Sweat, back-to-back games where we're seeing the Tez effect, but what are you seeing from him?
Yeah, I think, when I talked to him early in OTAs, he said it was a very complicated defense, a lot of calls. He had reached out to players that had played in the defense down in New Orleans, and he said, I was struggling. I was struggling to learn it. Some of the calls weren't clicking for me, but now I think you see the result. I think now having everybody healthy together now with Edwards back and Gordon and all the guys other than Jalen Johnson, you see them starting to gel and they're reacting a lot quicker. You just see how aggressive they are. To go 4 straight games, I think that's 15 turnovers in 4 games that they've created. That is a hell of a run in what they're doing. So maybe the sacks aren't there, as Pat alluded to, but it's leading to good results in turnovers of other parts of the defense. So you get 4 turnovers a game, you're cooking with gas, and they are really starting to gel. And Montez Sweat is really the straw that's stirring it right now.
Yeah, coming into this game, the Bears were blitzing at a top 10 rate. Spencer Rattler has actually been good against the blitz, against pressure. But Lou, how did you see Dennis Allen consistently bring the pressure today and continue to be aggressive?
Well, as I said with Pat, I just feel it's a more aggressive defense now that you've got T.J. Edwards roaming the middle along with Tremaine Edmonds, and you've got Kyler Gordon in the back. And I'll follow up on what you were talking about, Jim, and that was regarding Montez Sweat. This guy was confused that he wasn't putting up more sack numbers, at least at the beginning of the season, because he admitted that he's never worked harder in training camp or during OTAs, the off-season program. He was part of the off-season program, something that he hasn't been on a consistent yearly basis throughout his career. He's a guy that he hears, listen, he may tell the media that he's not listening to what, or hear what fans are saying on sports talk, or what talk show heads like Pat the Designer are saying about him, or what guys like Lou are writing about him, or Chris Kwasinski. But he hears it all, and he gets it. Hey, listen, he knows he's making $98 million. He's one of the top DNs paid in the league, and he needs to put up bigger numbers, and it's good to see it finally happen for Sweat, because he has worked at it this season.
I want to ask you guys this, because Pat and we touched on this during the game when we were watching it. How concerned are we at the depth of the DBs there, especially when Tyreek Stevenson did not return?
You got to see what it's going to end up being. I mean, that's a big blow. N'Shawn Wright was able to get back out there and be able to contribute, big breakup kind of towards the end of that game that got Spencer Rattler off of the field yet again in that New Orleans offense. But listen, the DB depth was something that was a strength of this team when we came into the season. I think now you have to look at it and say, listen, it depends on what Tyreek Stevenson's injury is going to be, if that's something that lingers. But the next man up mindset is something that Dennis Allen has been preaching the entire time. And I remember talking with Al Harris, and what he had to say about it was, if you play the system, not whoever's standing in front of you, you play the system, the ball will find you. I think we can see, as this game has played out, as these last few weeks have played out, the ball has continued to find these Bears DBs on a pretty consistent basis. And I love how Dennis Allen framed it. These aren't turnovers. These are takeaways. We're going out there and we're the ones making a play to get the football out of the opposing team's hands. That's what, if it's Nick McLeod coming in, if it's we got Josh Blackwell in there today, if you play the system the right way, you're going to be in position. Just make sure your hands are ready.
By the way, I'm glad you brought up Al Harris, because I don't know if you heard what Al Harris told J-Mac, your partner at ESPN 1000. But J-Mac, who does sidelines with Joniak and Thayer on the broadcast, Al Harris, DB head assistant coach, told him, we're coming up with 4 takeaways in this football game. And sure enough, the Bears came up with 4 takeaways, along with that young person that you talked to at the tailgate, who also, during our bold prediction segment, said, hey, the Bears are going to come up with 4 takeaways in this game.
Well, Lou, I hate to say it. It's the first time Al Harris has been right. He said 2 last week. We came away with 3. He said 3 the week before. We came away with 4. So Al Harris right on the money. I kind of want him to keep being wrong and get 1 more extra. We had the chance for it with Byard, but Wright knocked the ball out of his hands.
Want to remind everyone
And
once
I
again.
think
Go ahead, Jim.
I think one thing to keep in the bigger picture, Tina, is what you alluded to. The trade deadline is looming. There's going to be some teams that are out of it. And if the Bears feel that they can find a way to sneak or find themselves into playoffs, there will be fire sales out there where maybe Dennis Allen can kind of go out there and choose what type of corner that they could go at. And it could be a good number of what they could be adding to their football team. So don't forget about that trade deadline.
Yeah, I want to remind everyone real quick, if you're watching, especially on YouTube, leave a comment. We're going to be reading your comments later on in the show. But Jim, I mean, we talk about the takeaways here. How can this defense consistently keep this up, and is it realistic?
I think it is. I think it becomes infectious when players start to make plays. If one guy gets them, then another guy wants to get in on the party. And I just think they're full strength right now. They're really starting to play really well. They're in sync with one another. And I think when it's the next man up to make a play, they don't want to be the guy to let the team down. And typically they come in bunches like this, but they're doing it because they're executing really well. The defensive calls by Dennis Allen, how they're executing, they're hitting home. You mentioned the Kyler Gordon, they're blitzing him from the nickel. He hits home. Brisker hits home on his blitzes. You got Sweat, swiping at the ball. And I'll say this even about Brisker's, he got the unsportsmanlike penalty or roughing the passer, essentially. That play needs to be addressed because you see those players trying to swat at the ball is what they're doing, and it becomes an inadvertent, forcible blow on the quarterback. I'm a former quarterback, and I think it's a cheap call. I think they're going to ultimately change that rule where it's no longer going to be a roughing the passer because they're just going after the football. It was a clean play by Jaquan Brisker on that hit.
Is Jim Miller saying stop protecting these quarterbacks so much?
No, I don't think Jim said that.
I'm saying it, man. It's embarrassing at this point.
Not if Jim wants to still be invited to all the camps he goes to. All you need is for Josh Allen to tell the Bills management, hey, keep Jim Miller away. He thinks we should get hit more. But, Jim, I do want to follow up on something that you touched on, and that was turnovers coming in bunches. And it reminds me, Jimmy, of when you and I used to do the postgame show with Anthony Herron back at the beginning, and we looked at Lovie Smith's defense. And Lovie used to run drills that specifically focused on taking the football away and not stopping the play if it didn't hit the ground. Just kept doing it during practice. And I had a chance to chat with Manti Te'o, former Notre Dame linebacker, played linebacker for 3 years under Dennis Allen with the Saints. And he said that when he played with Allen, that Allen ran those kinds of drills that he specifically works on taking the football away. It's not something they talk about. It's something they work on.
Yeah, everything is a habit. It's got to become a habit. You think of the peanut punch. He didn't just wake up one day rolling out of bed and say, hey, I think I'm going to go punch to do the peanut punch today. You got to do it every day in practice so it becomes a habit where it becomes rote memory. And it's just second nature when you're out there and you're always swiping at the football trying to jar it loose. Who was it? Jack Campbell. The NFL just came out that they wanted to throw a flag because he's kind of trying to do the peanut punch, and they're almost thinking that it's illegal because sometimes he misses the ball and he's hitting the opponent, but he's going for the football is the objective. And I think, Lou, you just always got to try to create good habits like that in practice, that you're always doing it and it just comes naturally in rote memory where you're doing it in a game consistently.
All right, Bears once again snap an 8-game losing streak against the Saints. They defeat New Orleans 26-14. We got to take a break here on After the Whistle because coming up next, we're going to talk about this Bears offense. Caleb Williams, his 3rd interception of the season, but DeAndre Swift, 3rd game where he has scored a touchdown and 2nd game over 100 rushing yards. Keep it right here on After the Whistle. point. Bears are now 4-2. They defeat the Saints today, 26-14. But this 4-2 record right now, and for this team, feels so different from last year.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, like, you're 4-2. You shut down one of the most high-powered offenses at a time where we were like, I don't know if this defense is really that good yet. They were coming off of a 52-point, giving up 52 points to Detroit. All of a sudden, you're sitting there and you're going, wow, okay, well, you shut down one of the most high-powered offenses in football. You shut down the best running game in football to the Washington Commanders, now coming in here. I think the bigger games that stand out to me are the ones where you go in there and you handle your business. Lou, you said it. This Bears team did not play great today. But what they did do, this Bears offense, I should say, did not play great today. But what they did do was they had the running game going. And I love the fact that Ben Johnson said, well, Caleb's off a little bit right now. We're going to go with what's working versus this Saints team, and we're going to win a game that we're supposed to win. I love the fact that you beat the Commanders, but winning the ones you're supposed to win, that's how you find your way in the playoffs.
Are you the leader of Breeze Nation?
I am the leader of Breeze
You
Nation.
are the leader of Breeze Nation. Breeze Nation, the Bears ran the football 36 times.
I'm tingly.
36. And
I'm tingling. It gets me excited.
And then there were 4 runs, all right, 4 runs by Caleb Williams that weren't design runs. 36 rushes, 40 altogether for 222 yards. Here's the difference, Tina. I think everyone will agree with me. We just feel a heck of a lot more confident with this coaching staff. And I can tell you this, Ben Johnson is going to get to the mic, and he is going to tell the media today that he is not happy.
100%.
10 penalties for 92 yards. This is after 8 penalties in the previous game for 80, 90 yards. Unacceptable. Ben Johnson will not accept this. And that's what I love about Ben Johnson and a coaching staff that has some young guys like a Declan Doyle, but a number of older guys, grizzly veterans who have done it in this league, like Dennis Allen for 24 seasons, like Richard Smith, linebackers coach, oldest assistant coach in the NFL at 70 years old. You don't think this guy has seen a lot of football? These guys, when they see something they don't like, they make adjustments. We didn't see that last year. And even though they were 4-2, I felt it was a disguised 4-2. I remember in a cab going to the airport in London after the Bears wiped out Jacksonville thinking, man, we're going to the playoffs. And then they crapped the bed and lost 10 in a row. And you kept waiting for the coaching staff to step up and change things, and it didn't happen. And it started, I feel, and Jim, chime in, man, I thought the players lost the confidence in the coaching staff when in that Washington game, we know what he did, Tyreek Stevenson, but I didn't feel the penalty was strong enough. And I can tell you a bunch of guys in that locker room felt the same way I did.
Yeah, no, I agree. The tail can't wag the dog here. Ben Johnson lets everybody knows who's in charge, what he wants, and what he wants it to look like. Again, he just came from the #1 offense in the NFL last year and the #1 scoring offense. All he has to say is, gentlemen, we're not there yet. And like you said, it's an ugly win, but here's what they did do. When the defense got a turnover and gave them good field position, they were able to get points off the turnover. Here's where I credit the coaching staff, Lou, since you brought it up. That challenge that he had on New Orleans, that 3rd and 20 that they converted, that changed the momentum in the second half. That was all just due to a good coaching decision that Matt Eberflus and his staff could never get right in the last staff in their challenges. So I credit Ben Johnson for that. The other thing I credit is they are getting explosive runs now. I think you saw that. They were going over their power side with Darnell Wright in the right side of the line with Jonah Jackson. Guys are really getting good fits. They're getting good push. They've gelled as an offensive line because he's kind of been on them about that. But you're right. The penalties continue to hurt Caleb because it's getting them off schedule and creating, say, instead of a 2nd and 6, it's becoming, a 2nd and 11, like specifically down in the red zone, when he predetermined his skinny post throw to DJ Moore. And I think that's what's causing Caleb to struggle as well. He was not sharp today in the passing game. It was the running game and the coaching staff and the play calling that really got them through.
Bears with now 4 straight wins, first time since 2018. I want to talk more about this Ben Johnson offense, but real quick, the fumble snaps that we've seen so far. I mean, first off, we've seen it in Vegas against the Commanders and now against New Orleans. Jim, as a former player, especially the Drew Dahlman twice where it happened where he didn't let go of the ball. What's happening there?
Yeah. Yeah, you got to communicate with your center. Even if they don't know the snap count, you can go up there as a quarterback and just remind them, hey, guys, we're going on Monday. Monday means 1, days of the week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So Monday would be 1. And I think sometimes Caleb needs to do that because the false starts continue to be a problem, so they may have to reset more. And I want Caleb to be a more active player in that to really cut down on the false starts. I think we saw Komet do it, Loveland did it, Theo Benedict did it. That can't continue to happen. So he's got to remind them and maybe just reset it even when you're up there at the line of scrimmage saying, hey, guys, we're going on the quick on Monday, whatever, to get guys on the same page because that has got to get cleaned up. A 1st and 10 can't become a 1st and 15 and you stay on schedule. It makes it more difficult for everybody, specifically in the passing game.
Yeah, Benedict had a couple of false starts. And you know what? You're right, Jim. The muff snap and the bot snap, I'm thinking to myself, how is this happening? I mean, we're 6 games into the season now. These guys have been together. Dahlman, terrific center, best free agent available at the position in the offseason, been in the league 5 years. Why the issues, Jim? Why the issues as a former quarterback?
Yeah, if I'm the quarterback, I take the bull by the horns. I would go up there and be aggressive. Say, hey guys, I would just call it out at the line of scrimmage because if there's because sometimes it happens when you go up there and say, hey man, you can tell they're looking at you like, what did we call it on? And just remind them, who cares if the defense knows? At the end of the day, you want your 10 other guys with you to be on the same page and firing off at the same time. So just throw out the reminder to clean it up. That way you don't have to burn a timeout or waste something like that could hurt you later in the game. Just call it out and reset it when you walk up there to the line of scrimmage to make sure it doesn't happen again. And then, of course, be forceful with the guys. Hey, man, we can't continue to have these false starts. Pay attention when you're in the huddle what the snap count is. Let's get this done, gentlemen. Keep them on their toes and keep their point and keep their focus in the huddle and even when you're walking up to the line of scrimmage.
Hey, guys, at least the one false start worked to their benefit.
It worked. Right? It worked out to their benefit. But listen,
I got a field goal.
I think even with that, though, right, like it's the moments that it was happening, right? You talk about the false starts, not giving the football up. The one they didn't call, I was sitting there, I was like, can you just not snap the football and stand up? Is it 1928 again? Like, what a great time to be alive, right? But, like, seeing Drew Dahlman do those things, I love how Jim said it. Who cares if the defense knows that you're going on 2 or you're going on 3? Because last week you won a game where the defense knew just about exactly everything you were going to do, and you just had to go punch them in the mouth and say, we're stronger than you, we're better than you, and we're going to beat you in a 4th and 1 situation, in a 3rd and 1 situation. I feel like in today's game, the offense felt very tense in the passing game. It felt like they were trying to overcome the wet field and the wet ball maybe a little bit early. But then by the time you got down there in that second half, it was just like, Ben Johnson said, okay, it's not going to happen for us. And I think this is both sides, right? This is how we just watched the Philadelphia Eagles win a Super Bowl last season. Some days your guy may not have it. By the end of the season, you don't go to pinpoint games and go, oh my God, this was the game that you didn't have it. And even though you guys are still winning, you didn't have it in that game. It's a team game. And Ben Johnson said, Caleb Williams, today you don't have it. You're a little bit off. The throws are a little off target. The snap count's a little bit off. You know what? We're going to keep giving this ball to Kyle Monungai. DeAndre Swift, shout out to Monungai getting his first NFL touchdown. We're going to keep going to this run game because there's nothing the Saints have been able to show us that says they're going to be able to stop it.
I'm actually glad that you brought up the Bears in 3rd and 1 and 4th and 1 and they converted because, and Jim and Tina, I think you guys will agree that at the beginning of the season, Bears on 3rd and 1 were failing to get that first down and ended up punting. I think before they converted that 4th and 1 pass to Coast and Loveland at the end of the game, I think that Kevin Kluger said that they were 2 for 6 in the season on 4th down.
It wasn't good.
Jim, I think one of the reasons why we're seeing success now on short yardage on 3rd and 4th down is because of something you just touched on. The offensive line is starting to build cohesion. They're working together. They've worked together now for 6 games. I get it. Theo Benedict, a new member to that starting offensive line.
A little rough today.
But when you bring in veterans like Jackson and Dahlman and Tooney, and I always say, Jim, You cannot replace game action, NFL game action. I don't care if you played in the preseason together. I don't care if you were in training camp for 1,000 snaps or walking through it during OTAs. Nothing can replace what's going on in a game. And now that they've got 5-6 games under their belt, to me, it's no surprise that they're opening up big holes for the running game and converting on 3rd and 4th and short.
Once again, everyone,
I agree. Experience matters. Experience matters big time, and they know the coach is going to go for it on 4th down now. These guys are prepared now, and they know he wants to run the football. They've gotten the memo, and I think the coach has been very concise in how he's delivered that message.
Yeah, Ben Johnson, once again, staying aggressive here, bringing it to Chicago. Once again, everyone that's watching on YouTube, we see your comments, so keep them coming. We're going to be reading them right after the break. But coming up also, we're going to hear from Ben Johnson as well, so keep it right here on After the Whistle.
Sorry about that.
To 14. They improved to 4-2 in the season. Let's listen in on Ben Johnson right after the game.
You know, I think this game really started and finished there with our defense. They just did a phenomenal job throughout. When you look at those critical numbers, it was 44 yards rushing. I saw 4 sacks and 4 turnovers, and I just thought, credit to Dennis Allen and his crew one more time. They're doing a great job getting us the ball on offense with great field position. And it certainly gives us a ton of momentum in games like that. And so they just did an awesome job. Offensively, the 200 yards rushing, I think both ball carriers ran physical, ran violent, but huge credit to our offensive line and the tight ends in that core blocking unit, because you could feel that line of scrimmage move at times. And our backs were finding the holes. So that was really the name of the game there. A lot that we can clean up and we can improve. That's always a good thing. We'll coach these guys hard, and we'll turn our page onto Baltimore soon after this. Open it up.
With the running game, how satisfying is it to have come out of the bye week with answers and found something there that's giving you some life?
Yeah, no, I think we've been pretty consistent with that message, that it was just going to take a little bit of time to get our O-line on the same page and feel good about their fits and their combinations, and I think that's starting to come together. You accumulate the reps over the course of camp, and through these first 5 games going into the 6th one here, and I think you really see it start to come to life a little bit. So credit to them. I feel really good. They're really well coached. Dan Rochar, Kyle Devan, they do phenomenal jobs, and they've been very consistent with that crew. It's a prideful group. Obviously, they want to protect the quarterback in the passing game, and they want to be able to run for 200 every week in the running game. So really proud of what that looked like today.
You had several red zone trips today that didn't result in touchdowns, but field goals. What do you think was the problem that prevented you all from getting those 7 points instead of the?
We'll have to take a look at it. I can't tell you off the top of my head.
Coach, these turnovers is consistent. It's weekly now. It's not like just some once in a while type of thing. What do you most contribute to how the defense is taking the ball there?
Yeah, I think they come in bunches, and these guys we got a method in place of how we want to practice it. Dennis does a great job with instilling that confidence in those guys, putting them in the right spot. When the ball touches their hands, they're coming down with it. We really don't have many drops on that side of the ball. They're very conscious of it when it's a running play to try to punch at that ball and get it out. And so, it's just really working for us right now, and really our team needs it. I mean, it's really been the foundation of this last 4-game stretch for us.
And the Sean's takeaway seemed to be the spark early for you. What did you see both on the interception and then the return that obviously you give?
Which one?
The Sean's.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was a great catch. And then we've really been emphasizing, because we've been getting all these, is how do we turn these into whether it's in scoring range or getting in the end zone ourselves on defense. And so all of our guys are taking a ton of pride in getting connected after an interception like that and looking to make key blocks so that we can extend that. I thought Shawnee hopped on up and was really, I thought he was going to go down once or twice, and he just kept on going. So you might have to give him the ball a little bit on offense as well.
And you talked about the discipline, the details, the things you have to clean up. But striking that balance of doing that, what's your message to the team afterwards in terms of looking ahead and getting those things right?
Yeah, I think that's the benefit of when you win. You can usually coach a little bit harder, and so we're always truth tellers on Monday in particular. And when it's good, we'll tell them when it's good. When it's bad, we'll tell them what we got to clean up. And so there's a number of things there today that we can get better at.
You see a little reversion, following up to that question, in terms of some of the sloppiness overall?
Say it again.
Some of the sloppiness, did you see a little bit of reverting back to some of the issues that you guys?
No, I would say I was hopeful that Game 6 we would play cleaner football than that.
Any sense of what happened on the 4th and goal? There was a missed exchange, but then there was a false start.
Yeah, they blew it dead, false start, so moved us back and ended up kicking.
Do you know what happened with Caleb and Drew there?
No.
Coach, it was just the 2 drives for the defense wrapped around halftime. They kind of let them get away. How disappointing was that when you guys were dominating the game and looking to go into halftime?
Yeah, I mean, I put the before half on us offensively as much as giving up that big play on defense. We had that 3 and out. We had control of possessing that ball before halftime, and we didn't do a good enough job. I think that's 2 weeks in a row there. We've had a 3 and out before halftime. Something that we practice, something that we really stress, and we're not getting the job done there. So we put the defense in a bad spot. I thought we limited their explosives throughout that day, except for the one before halftime that resulted in points for them. So, and then out of halftime, I thought we had some chances, and we just couldn't stop them. But beyond those 2 drives, I thought the defense played some of the best ball we played all year.
You just heard from Bears head coach Ben Johnson there. The Bears improved to 4-2 on the season after defeating the Saints 26-14. Jim, I want to ask you, we're 6 games into the season. One of the things Ben talked about this past week was last time they had a short week, the result ended the way that they didn't want. I talked to Remo Dunze one-on-one in the locker room on Friday. He said, yeah, that's definitely in the back of our minds, but 6 games into the season, what are you learning about this team, Jim?
Well, I think you learned right there that the coach doesn't hide his emotions and how he feels about things, like the non-snap that we talked about down in the red zone. He wants it to look a certain way, and when the numbers, they leave so much offense out there. I think he knows that this offense has so much more to give, but they are making great improvement. You rush for over 200 yards. That's saying something in an NFL game. So they are making great strides in one area, but they're not hitting on all cylinders. And I think he's just relentless until he gets it the way he wants it to look. And they still have plenty of more work to get that done as a team.
I want to read some viewer comments here because it seems like the group chat, the comments are popping off. Becton Carpenter says, I love that we are learning to play together. We know our offense needs to improve, but if we can keep scoring over 20 points in a game, I think we can win games we expected to lose. What do you think?
Well, they've won 6 in a row now, or they've actually scored more than 21 points 6 games in a row is what I meant to say. And let me follow up, Jim, and I'd be interested to get your thoughts and Pat's and Tina's as well, because I'm getting texts from friends out there, and everyone's an expert, believe me, when it comes to the Bears. So because Caleb Williams had a rough day today, they're like, oh, Tyson Bagent should start getting that arm loose. Give me a break, all right? I mean, the guy just played 2 really good football games and helped them win. You know, if it wasn't long ago against Dallas and Vegas, we were talking about the Bears winning because of Caleb Williams. Didn't look great against Washington. Didn't look good in this football game either. And he will be first to tell you, and so will Ben Johnson, his completion percentage needs to get better. Right now it's under 62%. Ben Johnson at the beginning of the season set a goal of 70%. Yeah. So he's way off. Yeah. Caleb Williams has to get better throwing the football and getting it to his playmakers in stride. Not while they're standing there, not behind them, but in stride. Give them a chance to pick up yards after the catch.
Yeah, I think that goes back to the comment that Tina made, right? Like the conversation around, you know, how this offense is going to get itself going. The easy plays are there for Caleb Williams, and I think those are the ones that we're missing a little bit too often, right? But we're still finding ways to get this offense going. But some of the little flip plays, the throw to DJ Moore that's easy in stride, that, like you said, he has to stop and position himself to catch the ball because you're not throwing it ahead of him so that he can run and get some of that yards after catch. Those are things Caleb Williams has talked about consistently needing to work on. And listen, today was a tougher day because Theo Benedict didn't have a great day. There was a little more pressure in Caleb Williams' face. He handled the blitz okay, though. The zone is where he had some of his struggles today. And I think that in those moments, Caleb will come back and tell you, I have to be able to get some of those easy check down throws that make that completion percentage, like Ben Johnson has talked about on a consistent basis. That's what gets you to 70%. Kyle Monangai standing right in front of you, I got to take that. There was one where Caleb, he got out of himself on that one. There was an open man and DeAndre Swift on the right side. DJ Moore was there. You had Rome. He started doing a little spin in the pocket, got himself a little disoriented, had to make a tough throw that almost was an interception. You start to eliminate those, and it's going to take time when you get the pressure coming at you. You know, those are the things that kind of change how comfortable you are in that pocket. But once he starts to get that, you know, off schedule back in, I feel like he's been better on schedule this year than off schedule. I think you're going to see a pretty complete quarterback.
We've only got a few minutes here left on After the Whistle, but I think Caleb Williams, we're seeing him be more intentional with his reads, going through them as well, and learning to really play within the structure of this offense. Speaking of Caleb Williams, we've got plenty of comments here. One viewer said Caleb messes up on purpose. He wants to play from the gun, and I hope Ben stays true to his plan with under center play action. Caleb has to get in line or be gone in a few years. Just watch him. Another comment says Caleb needs to run more. He had 3 clear plays to run it himself. Thoughts?
I mean, listen, I think that if you think Caleb Williams is messing up on purpose, you probably aren't that.
You're watching the wrong.
You're not watching the same Caleb Williams.
I had to remember I'm not on ESPN right now. Hold on. But no, I think that, listen, it's not Caleb messing up on purpose. Caleb is doing everything he can to continue to get better every day, and you've seen it. You know, when you're talking about getting texts from guys saying Tyson Bagent better start warming up, show me the quarterback that has played 17 absolutely perfect games, and I'll show you the GOATs of this league. Give me a Tom Brady, give me a Patrick Mahomes, and even those guys have passes that they want back in a season. Caleb is in the first year of the system. He's figuring it out, and I think he's starting to move in the right direction with that. Every game isn't going to be perfect. Ben Johnson said it's not linear. It's going to be ups. It's going to be downs.
We're seeing growth from him. That is for sure. All right, up next, the Bears will take on the Ravens on the road. And Lamar Jackson, it seems like he's going to be back. How much of a challenge will this be for the Bears, Jim, real quick?
Yeah, Lamar, he is a special guy. And him versus the NFC, he's got an incredible record. So the Bears better be ready because he makes them a completely different team.
Guys, final thoughts?
He doesn't have that Spencer Rattler 4.9 40. Lamar Jackson can get away from you. It's going to be a little tougher to catch him once he gets out of contain, even with the hamstring injury. He's one of the greatest quarterbacks we've ever seen.
Not only are they expecting Lamar Jackson back, but Roquan Smith as well. And I'm a big Roquan Smith fan. Then they've got Cincinnati on the schedule, and we saw what Joe Flacco did to the Steelers on Thursday night.
That's right. All right, that will do it for us here on After the Whistle. Tina Nguyen, Lou Canellis, Pat the Designer, Jim Miller. We'll see you here next Sunday at the same exact time.